Okay, real talk. You ever get rejected and it hits you way harder than the situation actually called for? Like somebody cancels plans, and instead of being mildly annoyed, you're suddenly questioning whether people actually like you. Or you don't get the job, and your brain goes straight to, see, I knew I wasn't good enough. Or someone's just in a bad mood, and you immediately assume you did something wrong. And the wild part is, you know it's probably not that deep, but knowing that doesn't stop the feeling. That's not you being dramatic. That is a rejection wound. And most people who have one don't even know it's there. They just think this is how they are. The overthinker, the people pleaser, the one who takes everything personally. But what if that's not your personality? What if that's just what happened to you when you were small and nobody ever helped you heal from it? That's what we're getting into today. The rejection wound, where it comes from, why it still runs your life, and something called reparenting. One of the most powerful things you can do to actually heal it. Number 1, the rejection wound starts way before your first heartbreak. Psychology shows that the very first rejection most of us experience doesn't happen in a relationship. It happens at home. Kids are wired to need emotional attunement, to feel seen, validated, and like their feelings make sense. When that doesn't happen consistently, when you cried and got told to stop, when you needed comfort and got criticism, your little brain made a decision. It decided, I must be too much, or I'm not enough. And every rejection after that just confirmed what you already believed. Reparenting begins right here. Understanding that belief was never true. It was a child's only way of making sense of pain they didn't deserve. Number 2, your nervous system learned that rejection is always around the corner. Research indicates that growing up where love felt unpredictable rewires your brain's alarm system. It stays on high alert, always scanning, always bracing, and that same system is still running today. You feel it when someone's tone shifts and your stomach drops. You feel it when you share something vulnerable and spend the next hour obsessing over how it landed. You feel it when someone seems distant and your brain immediately starts building a case for why they're pulling away. That hypervigilance isn't a character flaw. It's a survival skill that outlived its usefulness. Reparenting means telling that nervous system, hey, we're not in that house anymore. We're safe now. Number 3, rejection hurts you more than others, and there's a real reason for that. Psychology shows that people with a rejection wound don't just feel rejection more intensely. They see it more often, even when it isn't there. Your brain gets so primed for rejection that it starts finding it in places it doesn't exist. A distracted friend becomes someone pulling away. Feedback becomes proof you're not good enough. Someone not laughing at your joke becomes a sign nobody really likes you. And the way you respond, withdrawing, over-explaining, people-pleasing, can actually push people away. Not because you're too much, but because the wound is trying to protect you in ways that backfire. Reparenting is learning to pause and ask, is this actually happening right now? Or is this an old feeling wearing new clothes? Number 4, the voice in your head after rejection isn't yours. Psychology shows the inner critic, that voice saying, you should have known better, of course they left. Why would anyone stay? Almost and never starts with you. It got handed to you by someone who criticized more than they encouraged, by an environment where love came with conditions. You absorbed it so young and so completely that by the time you grew up, it sounded like your own thoughts. Every time rejection shows up, that voice piles on, making it worse, dressing old pain up as logic. Reparenting is catching that voice mid-sentence and going, I know where you came from, but you're not running things anymore, and choosing to respond to yourself the way someone who actually loved you should have. Number 5, healing means learning to stay with yourself when it hurts. Research in developmental psychology tells us that what people with a rejection wound never learned is how to sit with emotional pain without being destroyed by it. So when rejection hits, it's either shutting down completely or spiraling hard. Reparenting looks simple on the surface, but it's actually hard in practice. It looks like feeling the rejection fully and not turning against yourself in the middle of it. It looks like sitting with that tight feeling in your chest and saying, "This hurts, and I'm still here," instead of trying to escape it or shut it down. It means becoming the steady presence for yourself that you always needed from someone else. The one who doesn't panic, doesn't disappear, doesn't pull away when things get uncomfortable. That kind of consistency, that decision to stay with yourself no matter what you feel, is exactly what the wound was missing from the beginning. Number 6, the right people will show you that not every connection ends in rejection. Psychology shows that healing a rejection wound depends heavily on what researchers call corrective emotional experiences. These are moments that directly go against the belief you've been carrying for years. Safe relationships create these moments, not perfect ones, not ideal ones, just real ones where you're allowed to exist as you are. Sometimes it only takes one moment where someone stays when things get uncomfortable. One moment where you open up and it doesn't get used against you. One moment where you're not punished for being honest, and those moments start to land deeper than you expect. Pay attention to how your body feels around certain people. Do you feel like you can finally exhale without thinking about it? Like your shoulders drop without you forcing them to? Or do you feel like you have to monitor everything you say, constantly adjusting yourself, waiting for the exact moment they decide you're too much? Your nervous system picks up on safety long before your thoughts do. It reads tone, tension, distance, and it reacts instantly. And the more time you spend in genuinely safe connections, the more your whole system slowly starts to relearn something new. Not everyone leaves. Not everyone turns on you. Some people stay even when things aren't perfect, and that realization doesn't come all at once. It builds slowly, quietly, through repetition. But when it lands, it changes everything about how you see people and how you see yourself. Here's what I want you to really sit with before you go. If rejection has always hit you harder than it seems to hit other people, that's not weakness. That's not you being too sensitive or too much. That's a wound that never got treated, a pattern that never got interrupted. If you've spent years making yourself smaller, apologizing before you even know what you did, working overtime just so nobody has a reason to leave, that's not your personality. That's not your identity. That's who you had to become to survive something a kid should never have had to handle alone. Reparenting isn't a glow-up. It's not something that looks impressive from the outside. It's quiet, repetitive, sometimes frustrating work. It's a random Tuesday where rejection hits you out of nowhere, and instead of spiraling like you always have, you pause, even for a second, and you choose to stay with yourself. You take a breath, even if it feels forced. You notice what's happening inside you without trying to fix it immediately. You say, "This hurts, and I'm still here," even if part of you doesn't fully believe it yet. It's catching that inner critic right in the middle of its sentence and interrupting it. It's choosing a response that feels unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable, but kinder than what you're used to. It's letting safe people get closer to you, even when every part of you is waiting for them to prove the old story right. Even when you're scanning for signs that they'll leave, that they'll change, that they'll turn on you. And slowly, through those moments, something starts to shift. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just a kid who needed something in a space that didn't know how to give it. And the most powerful thing you can do right now isn't to become someone new. It's to finally give yourself what you didn't get back then, consistently, patiently, without giving up on yourself. If this hit home, go ahead and subscribe. Every week, we break down the real psychology behind why people feel the way they feel, in a way that actually makes sense in real life. And if someone in your life is carrying this weight but doesn't have the words for it, send this their way. Sometimes, just realizing there's a name for what you've been feeling changes everything. Sometimes, that's the first moment where you stop feeling completely alone inside it.